makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagelia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Kristen Waterfield. Kristen is the founder and CEO of the Malvern School. With over 25 years of reshaping early childhood education, Kristen's story is one of innovation, dedication, and impact. Thank you, Kristen, for giving me that opportunity to have this conversation with you today. I'm looking forward to learning more about your school and all the great work you have been doing. You are a fabulous, busy woman, I have to say.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me, and congratulations to you too. Wow. This is some kind of undertaking that you've been doing for quite some time now. So thank you for honoring women in this way.
Thank you so much. But you had a profound impact on early childhood education for over 2 decades now. So could you share with us the moment or inspiration that initially led you down this path of transforming education for young children?
Yes, thanks for that question, because I love to talk about this and tell this story. This is, I think, a story that's for all people, but particularly for women who are trying to figure out kind of where their career takes them. I have always dedicated my life to children since I was a young child myself. I was babysitting and doing tutoring, and I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. So first and foremost, I am a teacher. I'm a teacher of big people, and I'm a teacher of little people. So I was teaching second grade and kindergarten after college in my hometown where I grew up.
Wow.
I grew up in a very small, in a small city, and up north, northern Pennsylvania. And I happened to be visiting a friend of mine in August. And I just happened to notice a school that was being built. And I went across, I was out for a jog. This is kind of like a famous story that I've told over and over again, but it's a great story because it was a typical, I believe it was a Tuesday. It was a typical Tuesday. It was actually the day before my birthday. I went out for a jog and I stopped by and started talking to this gentleman who was kind of standing on a dirt pile as he was building his school. And I said, tell me a little bit about this school. And he started telling me about the early childhood education industry. I don't know anything about. I mean, I have an early childhood degree as well, but I didn't know much about the early childhood industry. And he started telling me about it, and we struck up a conversation that went on for about 2 hours.
Wow.
This gentleman turned out to be the founder of the Goddard Schools. The Goddard Schools is also a large chain of early childhood schools with 600 locations currently. He was the founder of the Goddard Schools. He's now my partner in the Malvern Schools. But
wow.
So as we were talking and he was telling me all these things, he said, you should come and work for me. I'm starting this company. It's going to be great. I need an educator that can write curriculum and could train teachers. What do you think? And I said, wow, I'm 23 years old and I'm about to go back to school and my parents are going to think I'm crazy. So, right. So I called my parents. My parents said, if this is something that you're really moved by, we'll support you. So they did. And I got all my things together and I moved down to Philadelphia and I started working for the very first Goddard School. I that's how I entered the early childhood field. So I think my lesson or my message to everyone is you just don't know what's going to happen. Like you have to have some openness to serendipitous moments or life-changing moments, which this was for me. This was my first step into the early childhood education field business, and it really changed my entire life. So so that's really how I stepped into the business. And I worked at the Goddard Schools, which is a franchise organization, for a number of years and realized that the franchise model was not my calling. And I decided I would like to start my own company. I can do this well. I'm good at this. This is what I was built for. This is what I was made for. I didn't know that, but as I continued to be part of the early childhood business, I knew this was my calling, where I needed to be. And so I said, you know what? Franchise model isn't for me. I can do this well. I do it better. And I'm going to start, my own business, the Malvern Schools, which is what I did in 1998. So we're actually in business 25 years. We just celebrated our 25th year with a big birthday bash on this past Saturday, and it was tons of fun.
You took one big chance on a stranger that you never met before. And look at what happened. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes taking chances on strangers are not the best thing, because after all, it's a stranger. But
Yes.
I think that sometimes just taking a chance in life to actually get somewhere, it's worth taking, because I feel like if you didn't take that chance, perhaps you would have go back to school and work somewhere else. And then maybe you wouldn't have your own company today, or perhaps you would, but it would have been something completely different, not in early childhood education. So from there, then did you stay in Philadelphia, or did you move back to your hometown?
No, but what you just said is so right? Taking a chance. You're right. It was a stranger, but standing there listening to him, and he was so knowledgeable and so passionate about what he was about to enter into with his company. It made me a believer in 2 hours, right? And so having the support of my family and the belief in myself allowed me to take this chance. And if it didn't work out, you know what? Luckily, I had somewhere to go back to. I could go back to this profession of teaching that I'm good at, and my family would have welcomed me back with open arms. But it was still a big old chance to relocate from the only place I'd ever known to, a quote unquote big city of Philadelphia. And for me, it worked out. And I just say, when I talk to people and I talk to future entrepreneurs, it's that story for me is just about, you have to be open and you do have to take chances, because you don't know what those chances might lead to. And yes, I did stay in Philadelphia. I've been in Philadelphia since I moved here to be part of that initial company, that early childhood company. And I've stayed in the suburban area ever since. My first Malvern School was in the Malvern area. And right out of the gate from the very beginning, in that first year, I had 3 schools. I currently have 27 locations with 2 more on the way. But that first year I opened 3 schools, and boy, oh boy, it was wonderful because I had such a great core group of team members that were with me from the start, and several of them that are still with me now. Wow. But it was a lot. It was a lot because I was married, but I didn't have any children at the time. And within that 3-year time frame, I then did have my daughter. And so balancing starting this business from 0 to now where we are, and raising my daughter and then 2 other sons that I've had subsequently, 3 children. Woo, it was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, you make it look easy. You make it look easy." Well, let me tell you what, it was hard. It's hard. It's hard for us as women to try to do it all really, really well. So unfortunately, sometimes things, you have to compromise on certain types of things. So I think it's just about prioritization of the things that matter most to you and you feel most passionate about.
But earlier also, you said something that was very interesting. You said that the guy that you spoke with from the beginning, that you end up moving to Philadelphia to work with, also now a part of your company. How did you make that happen?
He was, or he is. he also felt similarly. He did not set out to follow the franchise model. He set out to have schools that were run by the corporation, that were corporately owned, privately owned. And the partner that he had at the time was very big into franchising. He was like the franchise king of this area. The model of early childhood and franchising can work really, really well if you have an excellent franchisee. And I've seen it work really well. But Joe and I shared that same philosophy, that we really felt at the time that the franchise model at that company wasn't going the direction we were interested in. So we decided to go out on our own. I have been the person that has managed operations and all the programming, all the personnel, and Joe's role, he's retired and has been retired for many years, but his role was mainly real estate identification. And then I would consult on the real estate piece as well. So yes, we ended up going off together. And side note, personal story, down the road, we ended up getting married, and we were, yeah, I know, right? I know.
I was expecting you to say that.
I know. Well, it's interesting, right? When you spend a lot of time with someone, of course, and you really admire that person, which I admire him greatly. We did get married, but subsequently, as we built our business, the Malvern School, we then got divorced. But we were able to prioritize our business and our daughter. And I have such admiration for him to this day. We are still partners. He's a great man. But it's not often when you go into a business as a couple and then you go through a life-changing event like a divorce that you can still come out the other side in such a positive way. And we did. And we are great. And I adore him.
Well, this is amazing. I knew that there was like a little bit of a twist behind it. That's why I asked the question. I'm like, that's interesting. Maybe that's the husband. So
right, the man on the dirt pile turned out to be the husband and the father of my beautiful daughter and one of my greatest mentors and friends in my life. So yeah, that is that even strings out the story even more from a personal standpoint, for sure.
Yes, it is. It is a beautiful story. But now with Malvern, what's make the company itself different from other early childhood education? So why did you decide to go ahead, you're going to start your own? What's make it so unique?
Thank you for asking that. Of course, I think it's number one and super special. And I really admire other founders that feel that same way about their brand and their company. I would say that the Malvern School has this wonderful combination of learning, and we put learning at the center for the children, of course, but also the loving and nurturing piece, that our teachers who are college educated in early childhood education and trained and developed through our learning model, they put themselves out, every day, every ounce of themselves into this wonderful learning experience. And the teachers are everything to the children. They're everything to me. As I said at the beginning, I am a teacher. I'm proud to be a teacher. And these are just amazing people. When I started the Malvern School, I really thought about the three most important components of the people that we would be working with and providing a service to. And I will say, when I think of parents, I know you're a parent yourself and I'm a parent. We get so consumed by parenting that oftentimes we forget about, ourselves and the other dimensions of ourselves. So what I was hoping and what I feel I succeeded to provide to families and parents and guardians is a place where they can bring their child that they feel really good about, where that their child is learning and safe and having fun and being seen and loved, and they can go into the world and be whatever they want to be, whether it's a professional, whether it's a stay-at-home mom with another child, whether it's caring for their aging parents, whether it's a yoga teacher, whatever they want to be, whatever they want to contribute to the world that makes them feel good about it, that makes the world a better place. that was really, really important to me. That was one part that was critically important to me. And I feel like we've done that. Parents feel very satisfied with their life personally and professionally while their children get this wonderful experience. And then for teachers, again, teachers are everything to the children and their families and to the world, quite frankly. We wouldn't be where we are without teachers, right?
Nope.
Think
No.
about everything as you're seeking your amazing PhD, all these incredibly wise people are guiding you. And so teachers really are at the core of all of us as human beings. And so I really wanted to lift up and show the value of these amazing early childhood teachers through professional development, through training, through career development opportunities, and to really elevate them in the world of teaching in a way that early childhood educators aren't always elevated. And of course, most importantly, at the core of all of this that we're doing is the children, providing a program for them that's safe and fun and is filled, with learning and with love and silliness and happiness is really what our core values are about. I mean, our core values at the Malvern School, they begin and end with children. Our number one core value is always put the children first. And our last core value is think like a child.
I wish every parent
And
can
so,
do that.
Exactly. Parents, teachers, if we can all look through the lens of a child's world, we'd all feel a little lighter.
That's true. And I didn't think that way until I have my son. So because sometimes the things that he's saying that's bothering him, and I'm looking at him like, well, that's not even a problem. In my head, that's what I'm saying. But I learned to stop myself and understand why this is such a big problem for him. For example, he will come to me and said, Mom, I'm reading this book, but I don't understand why the writer put that in the book. And that's the biggest problem in his life right now. Like he has a big issue with the author of the book. And I'm sitting here like, well, that's not really a problem, but I had to go read the book and understand it. And after that, have a conversation with him to help him with his own problem. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that the problem children will have, the problem that we have as adults are more like we're paying the bills, we can't feed the kid, we don't have enough money. That's our problems, right? But we never think of their own problems. They are also important to them at that moment for that age. And I think as parents, we, like you said, we need to think like them to understand why that's so important to them.
Yes. And I love that he has that perspective. That's a really mature perspective for him to look into that book beyond just the pages on the book, right? He's a thinker. And you address that beautifully. You want to come work for the Malvern Schools? Come on now. Sounds like you're a teacher at heart yourself.
I love to teach, actually. But one thing I love with your school for having 27 school plus 2 on the way, 25 years, over 500 staff member, you are doing a lot because even when I looked at the 500 plus teachers that you have, most teachers are women. And I don't know why. Maybe because we are we are born to teach, or we're always teaching even when we are not a teacher. But I think one of the things you are doing that is awesome is that you are helping other women. That is something that's very close to my heart. Seeing women doing things that are beautiful, but also seeing other women that's supporting other women to keep on growing, keep on moving. And be who you are, do what you love doing. And that's what you are doing also with Malvern School. So with that said, you said you have 2 schools coming in. Is that in Philadelphia or in another state?
So our 2 new locations will be in Princeton, New Jersey. So we currently have schools in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So these two new locations will be in Princeton, near Princeton Junction and West Windsor. And yes, what you're saying is 1,000% true. 90, probably 8% of our 633 employees, maybe 97, I don't know, are women. And honestly, that is amazing because I'm woman founded, woman run. My top leadership are women. I mean, it is a woman powerhouse, but I love I hope for and I encourage male teachers to join the profession of early childhood education, because from a perspective of a male role model or however they identify, it's just amazing for children to have another perspective besides just female. Although I'm female power all the way, I just think from a diversity standpoint, it's always great to have male figures. And interestingly enough, which is a little frustrating, and I'm trying to change this, at the top levels, at the CEO levels, probably 75 to 80% are males.
That's true.
Yes. And in our profession worldwide, I'm sure 95% of us are females. So we need to get more women at the top, like myself, within this industry. And of course, all industries, of course. But it's just really interesting that in a field where it's so female dominated, that the top leadership is male dominated. So I'm working to turn that around. That's for sure. I want more female founders, more female entrepreneurs in this business and all others.
But now you also are being involved in many board and volunteer roles. May I ask, why do you choose to be part of so many different things when you only have 27 schools to handle pretty much?
Yeah, I know. I ask myself that sometimes too, but and my kids ask me that too. Mom, why are you going out again tonight? Well, I have a board meeting. And then I sit and explain to them what this volunteer and advocacy work is that I'm doing and how it applies to my profession, which is really focused on advocating for children, and my passion, which is advocating for children and women. And that is really where my volunteer work lies. All of my boards are either advocacy for children and the field of early childhood education, or advocacy for women in leadership roles, in roles of mentorship, where I'm mentoring high school students, not necessarily to come into the education field, although of course I feel passionate about that, but just general leadership roles, and trying to make them understand, what it takes to find a job, hold a job, interview for a job. That's what I do with Nerdy Girl Success. Unite for Her is a women's advocacy group for wellness and focuses on women that are fighting cancer and all the resources that are available to them. And then, of course, I'm on some education boards. So that work is really rewarding to me and really ties in to the professional work I do all the time. But it's also important as a thought leader in this space, for people to hear my voice and to see that work outside of work is valuable. That's how I feel I give back. My kids see that as a really good example. And I want them to do work that they love to do and feel passionate about. So that's why I do it. It does take a lot of time, for sure. But again, I think I mentioned somewhere when we were talking, like just prioritizing the things that matter. And I've really learned, honestly, to say no to things more than I ever have. Like, I will say no to stuff. Before, I was just too nice. I would be like, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. And I'll be up till X hours, trying to fit one more thing in. But I've really learned, some wise woman shared with me, it's okay to say no, Kristen, to some things.
It is.
And I've really tried to take that on. And I do say no to stuff.
And I think that also another thing, when you talk about your children, for a 23 years old woman just finishing school and take a chance in a man dream, and now to start your own and even have a beautiful daughter with that man as well, and to have 27 schools, and I'm pretty sure by the next 10 years that will double at least. I think that will. With listening to you talking, I feel like you have very big plan for that, for the schools, and I think that you already lay a foundation for your children. You already you already teach them a lot in this world. And the first one is taking chances, and that's something that us as humans, a lot of us, we're scared of doing that. It's too much of a
Sure.
risk. We don't want to do it. And I think that's something you already lay down for your children. It's okay to take a chance. And I feel like you also will be there for them when they take that chance as well. But also that brings me to ask you another question. What is your vision? What do you see happen to Malvern School? I know that you have 2 new schools coming. What else do you have in the horizon for it?
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking that. And yes, thank you for pointing that out about my kids, because I feel like when I took that chance, I was young. I feel like a lot of people take chances when they're younger and not necessarily when they're older. And I feel like you have to believe in yourself at every segment of your life differently. As I'm an not older, as I'm a empowered woman, let's say, I have a lot of probably more confidence than I did when I was 23 or 24. But I also, at that time, had a lot less to lose. So, it's really interesting how you look at taking risks and chances. But yeah, I thank you for sharing that about my kids, because I do feel like we can have good conversations about those types of things. And I can use my example of how it worked out. And I can also use examples of how I've tried things that didn't always work out. So, yeah. And as far as the future of the Malvern schools, as we're talking, I wanted to share that I have recently gone through a transaction with a large international company and have sold my company to
No.
this company. Yes, but they have graciously asked, and I have wanted to stay on with them and help through the transition and support my team, who they are keeping intact and the brand intact. And I'm really proud of this transaction, quite honestly, because I had the ability to pick the company. I had a lot of companies that I was able to vet, and I was able to pick this company myself and really feel like they will take my people, who I care about the most, of course, and the program, the excellent programming that we have for the children, and they will really maintain that integrity. So I feel, first of all, really proud of myself that I did this. I did this on my own. I didn't do this with my partner. I have never gone through anything like this before. And I really did a great job. And I'm myself. And so I wanted to share that with you today, because I wanted women to understand that I have now gone through the journey from the beginning to the end.
To the end.
And it's not an end. It's just kind of like a new beginning end, but it is an end as far as like quote unquote ownership of my company. And I'm really proud of the authentic and integral way that I've led this company for all these years, for 25 years. And I'm really proud of how I wrapped it up as well right now. Like, as far as I can tell, as far as I can see, and in my choices that I made of this new company, I'm proud of that as well. So as an integral leader, I feel like that's been all along the way. And the messaging to that is like, there's going to be hard things. There's going to be hard choices. But I really think if you stick to your value system and the mission that you've set out from the very beginning and the passion you feel about the work that you're doing, I think you can do it in a really authentic and integral and a very empathetic way. You don't have to be like it. I feel like I'm a badass, but you don't have to be like show that. I do feel like I am, but I don't have to show that. I don't have to be that type of leadership that I probably was when I was younger, because I was trying to figure it out, right? I was trying to figure my leadership style out when I was younger. But now, as you know, leadership for such a long time, you can really do it in such a caring and authentic way that it's a very integral process. So I'm proud of myself. Like, in a nutshell, I took it from infancy to like 25 years old, you're an adult now. Like
Yeah,
that's how I feel about my company. And I'm really proud. And I did really well in all areas.
you did. You
And
did
I'm proud of
excellent.
myself.
You did
Thank
excellent.
you.
And but one thing that
Thank
I'm
you.
thinking is
Hmm.
a woman leader that is just sold um, everything you just work hard for 25 years. I'm thinking there's
Hmm.
something else behind it. So I'm thinking you have other plans, you have something bigger that's coming out. So what's next?
Oh, well, thank you for asking that. I'm not sure. Like, I haven't had a boss and worked for somebody in almost 28
Mm-hmm.
years now. So, working for someone else, I'm trying to learn and remember the ropes of that. And also, again, maintaining and being sure that my core team that's been with me for so long, well over 20 years, gets what they need during the transition. And I don't know, I kind of want to take a little bit of a breath. I had, unfortunately, when we went to close this transaction, I had COVID. So I've yet to be able to celebrate. And so I want to celebrate. I want to do all kinds of things. I'll probably use some of my time to do some thought leadership in the industry, more advocacy work.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll use it for the good. I'll use it for the development of and the recognition of this field of early childhood education that's so valuable, and to lift up teachers again, I'll say it like 10 times, I think, during our conversation together. I'm a teacher first and foremost, and teachers are everything to me and to this world. So I think I'll do work along those lines.
But now, for those people to make a difference in education or follow a similar entrepreneurial path like you
Mhm.
did, what advice would you offer based on your experiences?
Well, from my initial experience, I think that I had always known I would do something with children. I've loved children since I was a child myself and connected with them. And so I knew that was my path. I just didn't know what it was going to be exactly, clearly, because here I am and never saw this coming. So my first message is always, again, be open to the possibilities, but lead with your heart. What do you love? I love teachers. I love children. I love education. And I was able to turn that into a profitable business where, again, I did it in a very ethical way and always put, if you put your product or what you're working towards at a high level of excellence and you're really delivering that, then you can be successful financially. But if you don't do that, you won't be successful financially. It just doesn't happen. So I think that always providing your best, always putting your best forward, whether it's in the product that you have, within yourself, that authentic self, those are the biggest takeaways that I've had in my business. Just treating people with respect and being honest and putting out something that you're really proud and passionate about. That has
Mhm.
really led to my success. It might sound simple, but it's just really true at its core.
Well, thank you so much, Kristen. I am a little bit sad. I will not say I'm not, because I was just getting used to the school, but it's been sold to someone else. But I'm also excited for you because it's great to meet another woman that created something from scratch and to see it until the end. Again, like you said, it's not really 100% the end because the school keep on moving on and your name will stay behind it forever. But for you to be able to grow it to 27 schools and over 500 employees, and to be able for even a company to want to buy it from you, that is a huge thing. And I think that is a great example for other women out there that wants to create something. It's possible. If you have a passion for something, you can make it happen and see it through. And in your case, you sold it. And if you want to pass it on to your children, you can as well. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy to see that. You are a great example for all of us as women.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I do feel that way. And so are you a great example to women to take this platform to tell stories of women like myself and others in all different types of industry. It is wonderful. It's wonderful to elevate that so that all these wonderful upcoming entrepreneurs or thinkers of the world or change makers that aren't sure what they want to do or where they want to go understand all the possibilities that they have. Listen, I'm a small town girl from a very, grew up in a small town, and I have reached a level of success that, yes, I thought was possible inside of myself, but I didn't really understand it until I started moving towards it. So I feel really proud of myself. I feel like I'm a great example for my daughter and my sons. And there's so many women out there that I admire tremendously, including you. So thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it. And who knows where I'll go next. So maybe we'll meet again.
Oh, I'm sure we will, because I feel like there's something else coming. I don't think Kristen is about to just take a vacation. I think something else gonna come, and it's going to be big. And I'm looking forward to see what's next. What else do you put out there? But I know whatever you choose, whatever path that's gonna come next for you, it's going to be amazing, and a lot of women is going to learn a lot from you as well.
Thank you. Same to you. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to connecting with you again.
Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.